podcast available Tuesday and Friday 6 p.m. AST on Spotify and website will be found. Available Tuesday and Friday 6 p.m. AST on Spotify and website will be found. Solo podcast available Tuesday and Friday 6 p.m. EST on Spotify and website will be found. Low podcast available Tuesday. Website will be found.
The Career Reinvention Blueprint After 40, the 3-part method to rebrand and relaunch yourself. So welcome back to Build and Be Found, the show that helps you get seen, heard, and remembered, especially when you are ready for a bold new chapter in your career or business. I'm Malka, and today we're talking about something deeply personal for me, which is reinventing yourself after 40. Because let's be honest, at this stage of life, change hits differently. You're not just chasing a paycheck. You're chasing a purpose, freedom, and a way to use your skills without burning out. And if you've ever thought, is it too late to start over? The answer is absolutely not. I've done it myself twice. And I'm going to walk you through the exact 3-part blueprint I used, plus a checklist that you can start using today. That checklist will be available in the notes for this particular podcast episode, okay? So, my personal turning point in terms of starting a pivot or a career change happened some years ago. I have been working 15 years in one field, mental health, and I worked in 2 fields simultaneously at the same time. I took on various jobs, started from the lowest job, I guess, possible, and I worked my way up. Every time there was an opening, I went back and forth, almost like a zigzag, up to get to the top. I had the highest career title by the time I was 32. And that's when I realized that, there's nowhere else to go after this. I'm a Libra. So we tend to think constantly upward and mobile, right? You got to keep finding new things to move up with. And even if we've reached the pinnacle of our, financial success, we'll still find ways to move up. So we'll do it through our hobbies, we'll do it through learning, whatever it is. So in this particular case, I did not reach my pinnacle of financial success. However, I felt that I had reached the pinnacle of that particular field's success. And I felt that there was nowhere else to go. And so I decided, it was time to do something different. And so I retired and I began writing books. I wrote and published 3 books, and then I encountered the illness and the subsequent death of my spouse, who I had been married to for 24 years. And that's when my second pivot came into play. So as I began to pivot, I became sick myself. And before you know it, a number of years have gone by, and it's time to redirect my career. And so because I was able to do the pivot the first time successfully, I'm now going through the pivot the second time around, and I know it'll be even more successful. And I knew that through all of this, I wanted to feel like I had more impact. I wanted to feel that I was working from creativity, something that I had not been able to do, but I encouraged within my children. And I wanted my work to reflect more of me, the person who makes, cheesy music related jokes, and me, the person that sees an idea and makes it a full walking person, so to speak, because I can think of everything that you can possibly do with it. And every project to me is not a small project. It's a huge project. It's not just, okay, a book. I'm thinking, games. I'm thinking, publishing rights. I'm thinking licensing. I'm thinking movie. For some odd reason, this is how I am. And every idea that I think of, it's huge. And so I wanted to see more of that in my work. I wanted to finally be able to take my work as far as I can possibly take it. And that's the thing, when you've been doing something for 15, 20, 25 years, it is easy to believe that is all you can do. And I had to relearn how to tell my own story. I had to come up with a way that it would open new doors for me instead of keeping me boxed in my past job titles. And that's what led to this blueprint. It's 3 parts. It's 3-part reinvention blueprint. So the first part of this blueprint is to audit your assets. Okay. You're going to start by listing out everything you've got, not just your job skills, but your network, your achievements, your passions, your lived experiences. And you're going to ask yourself, what do I already know that how to do that people can find value in? What do people ask me about when people ask me advice? And what lights me up when I talk about it? What is my passion? What is that thing that I just can't shut my mouth for? I can just talk about it for days and days and days and days and hours and hours and hours and hours and make everyone crazy, Those 3 things. Now, it's not just about finding your skills. The purpose behind those 3 questions is about finding transferable skills. What things have I learned that I can bring to now a new space? The second part of this blueprint is rebranding your story. And this is where most people trip up. I did even. They try to pivot careers, but they keep telling the old story. And part of telling a new story is called rebranding, right? You want to rebrand your story, which means that you need to reshape your resume. You need to reshape your LinkedIn profile. You need to create and or reshape your elevator pitch so that these things now position you for where you are going, not where you have been. In my case, I took it even one step further. I changed the way I look. I wanted to say, who is this person who came out of working for nonprofits to becoming an author? Who does this author look like? What does this author look like? How do I envision myself, some years down the road as author? So I adopted a more casual approach to my dress. I put away the more tailored blouses and all that other stuff. And I kept that look for a while. And now I'm repivoting. So now it's a matter of, okay, well, who is Malka going to be now? Malka is going to be the SEO expert turned AI expert, right? And I'll keep, I'm still the businesswoman who wrote the books on SEO and on job search. So it's now a matter of taking the skills that I've learned, all the skills, from every position that I've ever held, taking those skills and saying, okay, now, how do I make this into where I'm going? Where do I want to go? The next 20 years from now, I want to be, a more successful businesswoman. I want to have SEO clients that are making me X amount per year. I want to be able to do more writing. That's really my massive goal, is to be a full-time writer, just to write and, explore different genres. But because I'm by myself and I do a lot, I have to maintain my own finances. I figured, well, I can also offer other things. So I can offer the coaching for people who want to mid-career pivot. I can offer the SEO strategies. I can offer SEO as a service. I'm taking everything that I know and I'm rebranding it in the sense where, one, I do not want this to be a job where I'm bored and I'm bogged down for 40 hours a week, yet at the same time, it'll be sufficient to give me an income and still let me show up in other ways, in additional ways as myself. Because even as I'm doing the SEO for other people, I'm still showing up as myself. Me is in my work. And that's important to me. And that's what you're going to be doing with yourself. You're in this second section of the 3-part branding, rebranding. You want to come out with, who am I? You want to have a business that's more streamlined in terms of operations. You want to be able to increase your productivity. You want to be able to just say to yourself, yeah, this is a lot better. This has given me a bigger sense of peace of mind. And you do not want to hold on to the positions that you were beforehand. And I have so many positions. I was job coach. I was job placement counselor. I was, residence manager. I was this, I was that. No, those are the old stories. Now we are focusing on the new stories. And a great way to think about this is like when you're looking on your resume or even your LinkedIn profile, 2 points came to mind at the same time. So let me address one at first, and then I'll address the second one. With your resume, what you'll be doing is you'll be taking the words, let's say corporate project manager, and now you don't want to be a corporate manager anymore, corporate project manager anymore. Now you want to consult for small businesses. So then what you'll be saying is, I managed internal workflows for 20 years. And now I currently help businesses streamline operations and I increase the productivity. And that will be something that you can put into your LinkedIn profile. You can also put it on your resume. Now, the other thing that I was going to say about the LinkedIn profile is that header, that line, I forget how long the characters it is, where you put your name. And then underneath it, you get to describe who you are, what it is that you do. That is real estate. That's prime real estate. So what you would do is you would use that space even to say, hey, I managed internal workflows, or you could say, I help businesses streamline operations and increase productivity. And that is letting the audience know, anybody who looks at your LinkedIn profile, ooh, this person used to be this, but now they're going here, they're doing this. And that's what you want people to see. It's the same skills, but it's just reframed because now you're going from employee to consultant, which means business owner, small business owner, freelancer even. You are your own boss. And so that's how you're going to show up. And that's how you want prospective clients to see you. And you want anybody in the audience who encounters your picture and your handle to see that as well. And you do know, of course, that your LinkedIn handle goes everywhere in LinkedIn. It doesn't matter what you do. That is always with you. And that's why I called it prime real estate. It's something that will always advertise for you if you do it correctly. The third part of this career rebranding / pivot reinvention is something that I actually did not do. After not doing it successfully a few times, I have to admit this does work because that's what I've been doing. I have done it before and I know that it works, and I'm currently doing it now, and that is relaunching with visibility. Once you've rebranded, you cannot just quietly hope opportunities show up. You need visibility part of your plan. You need what's called a visibility plan, and the visibility plan incorporates 3 elements, and that is sharing your expertise online, joining conversations in your industry, and going where your audience hangs out. And so your audience hangs out in multiple places. And this is where you, the business owner, you, the rebranded person, or whatever it is that you're trying to emerge as, this is where you get out and you speak. You do some guest posts. If there's a podcast that you want to get on, you seek out those. Okay? This is where you consistently show up in the right spaces where people are thinking, I've seen them everywhere. Wow. As opposed to every time you show up, people go, oh, who's that? We want the doors open. We want to open doors. And your visibility plan will help, is one more contributing factor to opening those doors. So the tactical checklist of this, the things that you can actually do, the I called it tactical. I want to call it the actionable things that you can do are, you'll write down your top transferable skills, and I'll actually post these 5 elements also in the notes when I get to them. You'll update your LinkedIn profile, the headline, to reflect your future role. You'll rewrite your bio that speaks to the new audience. You will not be calling yourself project manager if that, you'll be calling yourself now anything that revolves around being a consultant. You're going to publish content, at least one piece a week on the topic in your new space, wherever it is that you're trying to go. So if you're trying to be a consultant, you'll write about your consultant. You'll talk about marketing flow. You'll talk about, whatever it is that you are doing. And then if you can, not even if you can, what you're going to do, I'm telling you to do this. You're going to reach out to 3 people in the desired field that you are going towards, and you're going to start a conversation. Now, a lot of people, and I've been guilty of this in the past because I've had LinkedIn since it started. And when I first created LinkedIn, I used LinkedIn just purely for business, and I probably do that still now. But something that people are doing now, we did years ago, those of us who were the early adopters. And what we do is we'd have this pre-written pitch, so to speak. Hey, I'm so-and-so, happy to connect. I do ABC. You can do that if you want. I would say start a conversation. Thank you for the connect. You can do a very, very, very brief what it is that you do. And then, you want to follow and try and find a way to actually converse with people so that you can spread awareness, visibility for yourself within the field that you're trying to go into. Okay, I think the thing that a lot of people have to remember about reinvention, and a lot of times I have to remind myself as well, and that is reinvention isn't really about throwing away your past. It's about taking the best of what you've done and using it to build the future that you want. And although I did it initially at 32 and then I turned around and did it later, I'm not going to say how old I was then, but I was in my 40s. There are some people who have done it in their 50s. The point being is that you can do it too. And I think a lot of times when people are pivoting, they tend to see their experience as baggage. Oh my gosh, I've got all this experience, like it's a sentence. But in reality, it's a competitive edge because that shows that you've got experience. It shows that you've got knowledge. So those are the things that you want to come with. And that's probably the starting point in your mindset as you are developing your evolution. So I hope this is helpful to anyone who is interested in evolving. And next time, we'll talk about the Be Seen formula, which is another one of my frameworks for making sure that the right people actually notice you. Thank you for listening. And this is Malka, and I'll see you next time.
Solo podcasts available Tuesday and Friday 6 p.m. AST on Spotify. And website will be found. wave table, a phone.